so that I'll leave that for us to study when we move on from here. But permit me to talk from the heart, so I can share some extremely important statistics and aspects of why we're here. I had returned as a diaspora. In our own case, we did not jump back. We went to school. In the 60s and 70s. But when we got to the US, we decided that we must come back as quickly as possible to come and add value to the continent. We never left the continent to go and stay abroad for life. Our focus was to go and learn, to see how things are done. And very early in my days, I was particularly angry. When I got to the United States of America, I was in Houston, Texas, and I was extremely angry that is it possible for a society to be disorganized? Is it possible for a society to be this clean, this well put together? I was angry that how can the largest continent in the world, 30.2 million square kilometers of area, the wealthiest continent in the world, how can that be the poorest? With all the natural resources that we have. I was disturbed because the whole United States of America is basically on 10.1 million square kilometers of area. Today, they have about 340 million people. And about 26 trillion dollars GDP. And my worry was that how can 30.2 million with 1.5 billion people be subservient to the United States of America? We also are blessed with about 1 billion in diaspora. We have in the Caribbean 44.4 million people, Africans. In the United States of America, you have 55 million people. In Brazil, you have 110 million people that are of African descent. And you have about 9.6 million in Europe, not to talk about the Americas. If you put all this together, we are much larger than China. China is just 1.4 billion people. And China has a maximum of 9.8 million square kilometers of area. We, Africans, have 30.2. And we're the poorest. China has 17.7 million a billion, trillion GDP. The whole continent of Africa, we have 3.3 trillion. We cannot even compete with Japan. That is just 180 million people. And they have 60,000 square kilometers of area that they can refer to as usable land, about the size of Togo. They had 4.99 trillion GDP, bigger than the continent of Africa. Nigeria is 927, 600 plus, almost a million square kilometers of area, with about 250 million people plus. No country in the world has developed without their diaspora. Now, the United States of America, the statistics I've just shared with you, their power is from their diaspora. Everybody came from everywhere. Little England here that we run to, 136, about 130,000 square kilometers of area, 55 million people. $204 billion from diaspora funds that came in. India has a total of 1.3 billion people. And these folks have 17.4 million Indians in diaspora. We are still celebrating our own diaspora. 70 million Nigerians in diaspora. And we are happy that they paid into Nigeria approximately $24 billion. You know what India gave Indians in diaspora? Do you know what they gave to India in 2022? $100 billion. The difference is that Nigerians in diaspora will send back home funds they refer to as residual funds. Monies that will keep in a jar. But the Indians will come home. But it's extremely simple. India made it impossible for them. These were all the things that were bothering me when I came back in 1984, and I decided that I want to develop my continent, not just Nigeria, but I will start from Nigeria as a diaspora and create structures that I will replicate throughout the world or throughout Africa. I went into a forest and I camped and created a movement called continent building, weaved around three major structures and industries: security, entertainment, and tourism. SET, S-E-T. And my belief was very simple, that with SET, the continent of Africa is set to explode. We have a small misfortune. The big misfortune we have is that you cannot, because of colonization, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer, without speaking a language that does not belong to you. That is the biggest undoing we have as a people. Because the bulk of Africa, Nigeria in this case, resides in the 774 local governments in Nigeria. My time in the forest of Ikegu proved that to me. We don't take them into account. Those people in the local governments, in the villages, a lot of them are geniuses. I will sit with the old men and we will look at the Atlantic Ocean and they will look at me and say, Otunba, you know this wave that you see coming? By tomorrow, 4 p.m., it will rain. And they never missed. They will see you have a snow ailment and they will say, don't worry. You enter the forest, they come back out, you are killed. When we talk about unemployment, we talk about 4 million graduates came out from universities in different parts of Nigeria. Only 1 million is employed. We have 3 million residual that are not employed. How about those that didn't go to school at all? Don't they deserve to be employed? So these three industries are the three industries that can mop it up. Mop up people in the local government, in the city, and those that have PhDs. Security. You don't need to have a first degree. We started first with corporate guards. We started training. We created training programs. I'm just telling you the power of the diaspora. And I said that security, when I was doing my master's in the US, I was a security operative. Why did we limit guards to retired men? So I started with corporate guards. Young people who start, and we put in place a career path where they start, they get to a point, they get a car loan, get to a point, they get a house loan. When they get to a point, they own their own business. I have a young lady that is turning 50, that started as a guard in corporate guards. I happened to also be, 2 years ago, the president of the Lions Club in Ikoyi for 1 year. So what we've done is we put dignity into labor. Then entertainment. We take talents, we groom them to international standards. Tourism is why we're here. Set. With set, the continent of Africa is set to explode. Because 92% of this continent can't speak English so well. Even if they speak it with the influx of their local language, we will laugh at them. If they don't speak it like my very powerful protege here, Femi, if they speak it like my Aburo here, he says a bushman from Ife. Otunba, I'm talking to you. See, the power of the mic is that you have the ability to abuse. You just pray you don't get a dirty slap, like Will Smith. So, ladies and gentlemen, in retrospect, a few months back, I looked at myself and I had asked, what would have happened as a diaspora if I didn't come back? Would I have had the pleasure of meeting Ayo, Femi, and all the friends and associates and people that have benefited from the energy of that 29-year-old boy? I was 26 at the time. When I entered the forest, I was 29. And we've created a result we are replicating throughout the world. Caribbean island. Thank you. Showcasing the best of our culture. Because you only have an advantage in life when you take advantage of your advantage. When you are busy trying to be like Ayo, you are in trouble. Because you have to buy a lot of fabric to make your hat a dome. And at the same time, you will not be as good looking and gay as he is. When he walks and I look at him majestically, I said, this man should be a king. He walks like one. Mr. President, not too bad. I think that when you look at all these figures, you realize the power of the diaspora. We have taken them for granted. We are blessed. We are lucky. We need to transform the disadvantage of slavery to an advantage. We have to squeeze that slavery lemon. Add water, sugar, transform it to lemonade for everybody to drink and be refreshed. And there is no state in Nigeria today or in the continent of Africa that can lead this movement like Lagos State. The biggest economy in Africa. Lagos economy is equivalent to 30 African countries. The entire Lagos landscape was held by diaspora that came from Brazil, Caduceus, Pontus, Da Costa, Da Rocha. All that Lagos has to do is to plan to bring the whole continent of Africa to the table of the world, and using Lagos as the gateway. Next to the resort, they have just built the deepest seaport in Africa, like deep sea port. That deep sea port should be receiving people that left on spaceships, back on cruise ships, landing in Lekki every day. And we channel them from Lagos to those that want to go to North Africa, South, East, West, Central Africa. In Dubai, with barely 3.4 million people, the actual Emiratis are less than 700,000. They naturalized people from different parts. They get almost 20 million visitors per year. If we put the entire continent in a basket and say, come to the continent, we will channel you to any part of the continent you want to go. We will get a minimum of 50 million people per year. Now, if you do 50 million, from just the 1 billion people that are lovers of Africa and looking for business opportunities, especially in Lagos, and they pass through Lagos go to different parts of Africa. I believe very strongly that the entire Nigeria's GDP of $480 billion, Lagos alone has $136 billion of that GDP. I believe we'll be talking about 5 to 10 billion minimum dollars GDP. We cry, we get angry, we talk about the fact that you enslaved us 400 years. We have the door of return now, come back. And we hear you. Some will come back. But the world will not patronize your anger. They will not patronize your pain. They will not patronize your insults. Because they are actually the perpetrators. Àwọn ló jalè. Lè sọ pé kán wá tún ní ṣe fún yín. But you can bring them back through tourism, through entertainment, like the MC said earlier, and Goge confirmed. You got the world now. When it comes to music and movies, you can't touch this. You can't touch us. You can't come near us. When was the last time we arrange in Lagos every month, Davido performing, artists from different parts of the world coming? The world will come. You don't need to beg them. They will beg you to come. And that is what we need to do as a people. Take advantage of the disadvantage. Let's work together collectively. The Goge Africa of this world should go out there and shout it, that the continent is ready for you. If you sit out and you think about it, only Nigeria and Ghana is paving way for Africans in diaspora. Dog return in Badak. No Panafest. Day of return. The year of return. And they made billions of dollars. Those are the only two countries. What we need to do is to present the continent of Africa. Be the champion. We're the biggest economy. We're the strongest. And an average Africa. We show a better understanding, fun, enjoyment in any part of Africa than the people of those countries. Femi will go to Ghana and show them how to put together a show. Chief marketer, Chief Ayo, go anywhere in South Africa and they will know that Africa has arrived. We need to take over the continent. It belongs to us. We are too myopic. We focus too much on the little gains that we have. I'm well, I'm cool, I'm doing well, I'm fine. We have done our worry day. It's not enough. We have the whole continent to grab. Because now we have a president that believes in tourism. He's created a tourism ministry for us. He's created a ministry that will help us grow this industry. And we must not leave it to the minister. You know, all of us should be happy now that we have what to do. And our focus should be on doing what we need to do. In 2005, we went to Atlanta, Georgia, and we created Motherland Beckons with our masters, people like, I'll say about 28 mayors, African American mayors, Ambassador Joe Louis, and all the top Pan-Africanists. And I addressed them and I said to them that Africa is ready for you. Motherland beckons. My command is you must heed the call. And when you heed the call, and that's what we refer to as the Ipada, the return. They must come back and add to the valley. And when they do come back, a lot of these folks don't know what to do. It is our job in our Muriland to provide for them hotels that they can invest in, to provide for them land that they can build a farm on, to provide for them an opportunity to own business, to enjoy. We shouldn't bring them in and lock them up in a room. As they come in, we must have a structure. We started an action to support this 6 weeks ago by creating a tourism product per week. By the end of this year, we will have 52 products. Because we realize that tourism has no entry level. We want to make sure that young people that go into this industry have something to do as they come into it. We don't want them to guess, make mistakes, like the Gogays of Africa that will 25 next year. I hope you are preparing your drums and your dances. It's going to be a major celebration. So it's extremely important that as we create these products, a lot of young people that want to go into tourism, you don't have to have a first degree. I did a master's program way in 1984 in FIU, Tourism and Hospitality Development. But Ojo from Ilesha can decide now that he wants to go into tourism. He should go into an encyclopedia of products and pick whatever product. We will guide him from Yati, Camp Africa, CARE, Corporate African Eco Retreat. We also created one that is bespoke for the diasporans that we refer to as DINA, Diaspora Nigeria Economic Recovery Program. I mentioned earlier that when they come, they just send money home. Their grandparents, their wards. We want to bring them physically. That's the idea of Diaspora Nigeria Economic Recovery Program. We are targeting 5 million diasporans out of the 17 million. If they come and they spend $2,500, that's 25 billion US dollars. That is the kind of money they can spend that will add value to us. The stipends they send to us, we have the same number of diasporans. Just like India. India has 17.4 million. We have 17 million. India travels to their country to do things, to build things. They don't send peanuts home. They come physically. And a platform is created for them. And they generated in 2022 $100 billion US dollars. That is what we have to do to make sure we create something for our diasporans. It's because they really don't know what to do. So we create programs for them. We let them know about our Worry Day. We let them know about the Dome Bridge. We look at whatever Google Africa is, put it on the table. We make sure that they know what to do when they come. We want to make sure that when they do come, their body might go back, but their soul will be here. Because we have created business, we have created opportunities for them. Diaspora Nigeria Economic Recovery Program is for every one of us. If we bring 5 million of them, and we're going to make sure they spend $5,000 each, that will give us 25 billion. By next year, we will struggle to make additional 25. We want to beat India. Why will India have 100 billion? And we are celebrating 22 billion. Lovely children. Ladies and gentlemen, the platform that we are standing on today was the doing of yesterday people. The platform for tomorrow's people is in our hands. It is not the wealth. You live for your children, you worry about. It is the kind of society èmi ní tiyín ní tòótọ́ Wanle Otunba Akinboboye. Let's keep clapping. Let's honor it. Very visionary. I'd like to take your feedback. We have to take a feedback. Absolutely visionary. I'd like to call on the national president to give us a feedback regarding what we just heard.